The air inside the Zelan family's spacecraft was growing thinner by the minute. Lyumia, a young Zelan child, screamed in terror as the vessel around him disintegrated, life support failing and his father, Zorak, bleeding heavily from a shrapnel wound. The ruthless Kraal invaders had obliterated their home world, forcing the family to flee in a small, now crippled shuttle. They drifted helplessly through the void, ignored by nearby alien ships, until a human vessel picked up their distress call. Commander Elyse Mercer of the Earth Alliance ship Horizon received the desperate signal. Despite their modest armaments and the 30-minute distance, Mercer ordered an immediate intercept course. "We have to try," she said, her voice resolute. Meanwhile, the Kraal warship closed in, its weapon systems locking onto the crippled Zelan shuttle. Serena, Lyumia's mother, cradled her son, whispering words of comfort through her tears. Their hope waned as the Kraal prepared to finish what they had started. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, a new voice broke through the static. "This is Captain Mercer of the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon. We are en route and will arrive in 15 minutes. Hold on." Serena's heart surged with fragile hope. She whispered to Lyumia, "Help is coming, my love. Just a little longer." On the horizon, Commander Mercer stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the view screen displaying the Kraal warship. "Engage stealth systems and prepare for combat. We need to give that shuttle a fighting chance," she ordered. The crew moved swiftly, their determination mirroring their commander's resolve. As the horizon approached, the Kraal warship opened fire. The Horizon's shields flared under the assault, but the human ship held its course. "Return fire," Mercer commanded. The Horizon's advanced weaponry launched a counterattack, striking the Kraal ship with precision and force, causing explosions to ripple across its hull. Inside the Zelan shuttle, Lyumia watched in awe as the human ship engaged the Kraal, dancing through the barrage of enemy fire with a grace that defied its size. Despite the battle outside, the air inside the shuttle was running out, and Zorak's life was slipping away. Serena clung to her son, her own strength fading. Mercer watched the shuttle's vitals on her screen, knowing they were running out of time. "Prepare for emergency transport," she ordered. "Lock onto their life signs and beam them directly to the medical bay." In a shimmer of light, Lyumia, Serena, and Zorak were transported aboard the Horizon. The medical team immediately sprang into action, working to stabilize Zorak. Lyumia clung to his mother, his eyes wide with fear and wonder at their new surroundings. Captain Mercer entered the medical bay, her expression softening as she knelt beside Lyumia. "You're safe now," she said gently. "We will do everything we can to help your family." Lyumia looked up at her, tears in his eyes. "Why did you help us?" he asked. "Because it's what we do," Mercer replied with a kind smile. "We believe in helping those in need, no matter who they are." As the medical team continued to work on Zorak, Lyumia felt a spark of hope for the first time since their ordeal began. The humans had shown them compassion and courage, traits he had never seen in the galaxy before. And in that moment, he believed that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. The Horizon's medical bay was a flurry of activity. Zorak lay on a bio bed, surrounded by human doctors working tirelessly to save his life. Their advanced medical equipment emitted soft hums and beeps, creating a symphony of hope in the sterile room. Lyumia and Serena watched anxiously from a corner, their eyes never leaving Zorak's still form. Commander Mercer entered the medical bay, her expression a mix of determination and concern. She approached Serena and Lyumia, kneeling down to be at eye level with the young Zelan. "How are you holding up?" she asked gently. Serena managed a small smile, her voice trembling with gratitude. "Thank you, Captain." We owe you our lives." Mercer shook her head. "You don't owe us anything. We're just doing what we can to help." The medical team worked with precision, using tools and techniques unfamiliar to the Zorans. One doctor, a tall man with kind eyes, leaned over Zorak, speaking in soothing tones. "Stay with us, Zorak. You're in good hands now." Lyumia couldn't understand the words, but the tone was comforting. He clung to his mother's hand, finding solace in the calm authority of the human doctor. Hours seemed to pass as the doctors labored over Zorak. Finally, the tall doctor stepped back, wiping his brow. He turned to Serena, his expression one of cautious optimism. "He's stable now. We've repaired the damage and stopped the bleeding. He'll need time to recover, but he's going to be okay." Serena let out a sob of relief, pulling Lyumia close. "Thank you," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you so much." The doctor smiled warmly. "You're welcome. We're just glad we could help." As Zorak's condition stabilized, Captain Mercer addressed her crew. "We need to ensure the safety of this family. They've been through enough." She looked at Serena and Lyumia, her eyes filled with a warmth that transcended species. "You're welcome to stay on the horizon for as long as you need." Lyumia looked up at the captain, his eyes wide with wonder. "Why did you help us?" he asked, his voice small and uncertain. Mercer smiled and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Because it's the right thing to do. We humans have a saying, 'Leave no one behind.' It means we never abandon those in need, no matter who they are or where they come from." Lyumia felt tears welling up in his eyes. He had never encountered such kindness and selflessness before, especially not from a species he had never even heard of. "But you could have been hurt," he said, his voice trembling. "The Kraal are so strong. Why would you risk your lives for us?" Mercer looked at Lyumia with a serious expression. "Because every life is precious. We couldn't stand by and watch innocent people suffer when we had the power to help." Lyumia felt a wave of emotion wash over him. He had always been taught that the galaxy was a cold and unforgiving place, but here were these humans risking everything to save a family they had never even met before. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with tears. "Thank you for saving us." Mercer smiled and pulled Lyumia into a gentle hug. "You're welcome, little one. You're safe now, and we'll do everything we can to help you and your family find a new home." As Lyumia clung to the captain, he felt a sense of hope and gratitude that he had never experienced before. The humans had shown him that there was still good in the galaxy, that there were those who would stand up for what was right, no matter the cost. For the first time since the Kraal had attacked, Lyumia allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. Captain Mercer stood on the bridge of the horizon, her eyes fixed on the starfield outside the viewport. The Kraal warship had been driven off, but she knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. She turned to her first officer, Commander Jason Holt, and nodded. "It's time to inform the Galactic Council. We need to rally support against the Kraal." Holt nodded, activating the ship's communications array. "Channel open, Captain." Mercer took a deep breath before speaking. "This is Captain Mercer of the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon. We have rescued a Zoran family from a Kraal attack. Their home world has been decimated, and they require immediate assistance. We request an emergency session of the Galactic Council to address this threat." The message was sent, and now they could only wait. In the meantime, Mercer focused on ensuring the safety and well-being of their guests. She made her way to the medical bay, where Zorak was recovering. Serena and Lyumia were at his side, their faces etched with worry. "How is he?" Mercer asked the lead doctor. He's stable, the doctor replied, but he will need time to heal. Serena looked up at Mercer, gratitude shining in her eyes. Thank you, Captain. We don't know how to repay you. There's no need for repayment, Mercer said gently. We're all in this together. Suddenly, the ship's system crackled to life. Captain Mercer, you have an incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. Mercer excused herself and hurried back to the bridge. The faces of the council members appeared on the main view screen, their expressions a mix of concern and determination. Captain Mercer, we have received your message, said High Chancellor Loren. The situation is dire. We are prepared to assist, but we need more information on the Kraal's capabilities and their next move. Mercer nodded. Understood, Chancellor. The Kraal are relentless, and their technology is formidable. We have gathered intelligence on their recent activities and can provide detailed reports. Send the data immediately, Loren instructed. We will convene an emergency session to discuss our response. As the data was transmitted, Mercer couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The Kraal threat loomed large, and the Galactic Council needed to act swiftly and decisively. Back in the medical bay, Lyumia sat beside his father, his young mind racing with thoughts of the future. He had seen the horrors of war and the compassion of strangers, and he vowed to one day repay the kindness shown by the humans. Serena watched her son, sensing the changes in him. She knew that their lives would never be the same, but she also knew that they had found allies in the humans' brave, compassionate beings who had risked everything to save them. In the days that followed, the horizon became a beacon of hope. Ships from various species arrived, bringing supplies and reinforcements. The Galactic Council's fleet was assembling, ready to confront the Kraal and protect the vulnerable. Captain Mercer stood on the bridge, watching as the fleet formed up around them. She knew the battle ahead would be difficult, but with unity and determination, they could prevail. All hands prepare for battle stations, she ordered. We stand together for the future of all species. As the fleet moved out, Lyumia felt a surge of hope. He had seen the worst of the galaxy, but he had also seen the best. With allies like the humans, he believed that they could overcome any challenge. The Horizon led the way, its crew ready to face whatever came next. United by a common cause, they moved forward into the unknown, driven by the unyielding spirit of hope and courage. As the Galactic Council's fleet advanced toward the Kraal's territory, tensions ran high. On the bridge of the Horizon, Captain Mercer monitored the fleet's formation. Each ship was a testament to the diverse species of the galaxy, united by a common goal, to stop the Kraal and protect the innocent. Serena and Lyumia stood beside Zorak in the medical bay, their eyes fixed on the monitor displaying the fleet's progress. Though Zorak was still weak, the determination in his eyes mirrored that of his family. We owe these people our lives, he said, his voice steady despite his condition. We must find a way to repay them. In the war room, Admiral Voran of the Galactic Council reviewed the battle plan with Captain Mercer and other fleet leaders. The Kraal's primary fleet is stationed near their home world, Voran explained. Our goal is to disable their command ship and disrupt their operations. Once their chain of command is broken, we can deal with the rest of their forces. Mercer nodded. We have the element of surprise. Let's use it to our advantage. The fleet approached the Kraal's home system, their ships cloaked to avoid detection. As they reached the outer edge of the system, the order was given to decloak and engage. The fleet surged forward, weapons primed and ready. The Kraal, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Their command ship, a massive behemoth bristling with weaponry, became the primary target. The Horizon led the assault, its advanced shields absorbing the initial barrage of enemy fire. Focus all fire on their command ship. Mercer commanded, her voice cutting through the chaos of battle. The fleet's combined firepower pummeled the Kraal command ship. Explosions rippled across its hull as the ship's shields began to falter. The Kraal fought back fiercely, but the unity and coordination of the Galactic Council's fleet proved to be their undoing. On the horizon, Lyumia watched the battle unfold, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. "Captain Mercer," he said, turning to her, "thank you for everything. You've given us hope when we had none." Mercer smiled, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You're part of this fight too, Lyumia. We're all in this together." As the Kraal command ship took critical damage, it began to list to one side, its weapon systems faltering. Admiral Voren seized the moment. "Launch the boarding teams. We need to secure their command center and take their leaders into custody." Specialized boarding teams from various species, including humans, launched from the fleet and breached the Kraal command ship. The fighting was intense, but the teams pressed on, driven by the knowledge that the fate of the galaxy depended on their success. Captain Mercer coordinated the assault from the horizon, ensuring that support was provided where needed. As the boarding teams advanced, the Kraal resistance weakened. Finally, the command center was secured, and the Kraal leaders were taken into custody. A cheer erupted across the fleet as news of the victory spread. The Kraal's command structure was shattered, and their remaining forces began to retreat. The Galactic Council's fleet had achieved a decisive victory. Back on the horizon, the mood was jubilant. Serena hugged Lyumia tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face. Zorak, though still weak, managed a grateful smile. "We did it," he said softly. "We survived." Captain Mercer addressed the crew and their guests. "Today, we showed that unity and courage can overcome any threat. This victory belongs to all of us. Let's continue to stand together and ensure a future where all species can live in peace." As the fleet began the journey back to friendly space, Lyumia looked out at the stars, feeling a renewed sense of hope. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but with allies like the humans and the Galactic Council, he knew they could face anything. The battle had been won, but the journey was far from over. With new friendships forged in the fires of conflict, Lyumia and his family looked forward to a brighter future, knowing that they were no longer alone in the galaxy. The aftermath of the battle against the Kraal brought a mixture of relief and determination across the Galactic Council's fleet. On the horizon, Captain Mercer convened with Admiral Voren and other fleet leaders to discuss the next steps. The Kraal were retreating, but ensuring lasting peace required a strategic plan. "We must capitalize on this momentum," Voren stated. "We need to secure key systems and prevent the Kraal from regrouping." Captain Mercer nodded. "Our ships will assist in establishing defensive perimeters around liberated planets. We can't let the Kraal regain their strength." Meanwhile, in the Horizon's medical bay, Zorak was recovering steadily. The advanced medical technology of the human ship had worked wonders, and he was now strong enough to join Serena and Lyumia in exploring the ship. They marveled at the sleek design and advanced technology, grateful for the humans' hospitality and bravery. "You saved us when no one else would," Serena said to one of the doctors. "We owe you everything." The doctor smiled warmly. "You owe us nothing. Helping those in need is what we do." As the days passed, the Galactic Council's fleet systematically dismantled the remaining Kraal strongholds. The once feared insectoid invaders were now on the defensive, their forces scattered and leaderless. The Council's unity and resolve had turned the tide. In a grand ceremony aboard the Horizon, representatives from various species gathered to commemorate their victory and honor the bravery of those who had fought. Lyumia, Serena, and Zorik stood proudly among them, their presence a testament to the courage and resilience of all who had suffered under the Kraal's tyranny. Admiral Voren addressed the assembly. Today, we celebrate not just a military victory, but a triumph of unity and compassion. We have shown that together we can overcome any threat. Let this be the foundation of a new era of cooperation and peace. Captain Mercer stepped forward. The Kraal underestimated our resolve and our unity. They thought they could divide us, but they only made us stronger. As we move forward, let us remember that our greatest strength lies in our ability to stand together. Cheers erupted from the assembly, the sound echoing through the halls of the ship. It was a moment of triumph, a symbol of hope for a future where the galaxy's species could coexist in harmony. After the ceremony, Lyumia and his family were invited to stay aboard the Horizon as honorary guests. They explored the ship, learning about human technology and culture. Lyumia, especially, was fascinated by the stories of Earth and the humans' rich history of overcoming adversity. One evening, as they gazed at the stars from the observation deck, Captain Mercer joined them. "What will you do now?" she asked gently. Serena smiled. "We'll rebuild. With the help of our new friends, we'll create a new home and a new life." Lyumia nodded eagerly. "And we'll never forget what you did for us. You showed us that there's always hope, even in the darkest times." Captain Mercer placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Remember, Lyumia, you're not alone. The galaxy is vast, but it's also full of allies and friends. Together, we can build a future where everyone can thrive." As the Horizon continued its journey through the stars, the bond between the humans and the Zorian family grew stronger. They shared stories, dreams, and hopes for the future. The horrors of the past were not forgotten, but they served as a powerful reminder of the strength that could be found in unity and compassion. And so, as the galaxy began to heal from the wounds inflicted by the Kraal, a new era of cooperation and peace dawned. The lessons learned and the alliances forged in the fires of conflict would guide the Galactic Council and its member species toward a brighter, more hopeful future. Lyumia, Serena, and Zorik looked forward to the challenges ahead, knowing that with friends like the humans, anything was possible.